this video, we'll be using loop yarn to knit a scarf. It's super easy to do, and all you'll need is 2 balls of loop yarn. Next, you'll need to find the end of the yarn. It can be a little bit tricky, but just try to loosely pull at the yarn until you find the end. So once you found the end, lay your yarn out just in a straight line so you see what's going on. And you can see here that they already give you a little bit of a tail so that you can weave that into your scarf on the ends there, but I wanted to have a little bit of extra room to weave in. So basically you're gonna try to find this string that connects the 2 pieces of this loop together. So if you try just kind of pulling back the thread a bit, you'll be able to see the thread, and then you can just cut that. Then you'll lay out your yarn and try to put all the loops in the same direction so it's easier to see everything, and figure out how wide you want your scarf. Anywhere between 8 to 10 loops is good, but keep in mind your final project will curl in a bit, so it may appear more narrow. I decided to go with 10 loops wide, so you'll see me counting those out here. After that, snake your yarn around, and you can pull out a little extra yarn so it's easier to work with as well. And then we'll begin with the actual knitting. I'm starting by counting out how wide my scarf will be again, so mine is 10 across, and then taking note that this one is the light gray piece. Then I'm taking the dark gray piece and putting it under the light one and looping it through from the back. I found it helpful to have these different colors because it made it easier for me to remember which loop I was working with. And you're just going to keep doing that same process. So here I'll be working with these 2 white loops, taking the left loop and putting it under and then through the right white loop. You'll keep following that all the way through until you're finished your first row. I'll show you this whole clip so you can see me working my way across. And it'll get even easier the more rows that you have finished, because you'll be able to see everything more clearly. Alright, so there's the first row done. I like to recount on each row just to make sure I didn't miss any loops, so I don't have to go back once I've done a lot more work on it. And after that, we're just going to go in the other direction. So do the same thing, snake your yarn around, and then keep looping under and through, and pull them tight, and feel free to take your time with it too. You can see that as I'm working, I like to really flatten out the scarf because it will tend to curl up a bit here as it gets longer. And once you have a bigger section, you can always pull out pieces and fix them up to your liking as well. Another way that you can check on your work as you're going along is by flipping it over. When you flip it over, you'll be able to see a lot more clearly if there are any missing loops because they'll pop out. And if at any point you want to go back and fix up some of your knitting, you can just pull the loops out and redo it, or you can just tug at some of the loops to shape it how you like. Because the yarn is so fluffy, it's pretty easy to manipulate and to make it look how you want. I'll show you this next section of me working on the scarf sped up, and then we'll meet back to connect the next ball of yarn. Okay, so to connect the next ball of yarn, you're going to keep knitting until you're left with 3 loops remaining on the end of your yarn. Once you have 3 loops left, you're going to match them up with the first 3 loops of your new yarn. You'll have your new string of yarn facing the same direction as the one you were already working on, so they're following the same path. Then you're going to double up each loop and as if they're one. So you'll take these 2 loops and loop them under and through like you normally would. I found it a little bit difficult to see which loop was which, so I just used my finger to try to keep these loops separate to make it a little bit easier to see what's going on. So then you'll take these 2 loops and loop them under also, and then again just keep acting as if they're one. So yours might connect at a different spot compared to mine, but either way you'll just continue looping the yarn through the same way you did for the rest of the scarf. We'll weave the extra string of yarn after, so you can just ignore that for now. When you're coming back across in this direction, don't forget that you will get these double loops again, where you will need to put that single loop under and through the double loops in the set and bring that to the front. So continue on like normal, but you just need to pay attention to those extra loops. Here is where you're really going to want to pull those tight just to make it a little bit more clear to see what's going on. You can see as I'm working away here that it's actually not super noticeable either, even though we did use those double loops. So I'm just going to keep working away at this, and then we'll come back once I weave in that extra tail and we'll finish off the end. Okay, so to hide that tail, it's actually pretty simple. We're basically just gonna weave it into the scarf so that you can't see it. So we're gonna go under this loop, over the next loop, then under that loop, until it's all hidden. And you can just kind of fluff it up and try to hide it like that. There's no real right or wrong way to do it. Alright, so now once you've made it to your final row, we will finish off the end of the scarf. To do this, you're going to knit the first 2 loops as usual, and then you're going to double back. So here you'll see me going backwards by putting the white one under and through the dark gray one. Then you'll do your next loop under and through, and then go back again. So now this light gray one is going under and through the white one. And that's how you're going to finish it off. So you can see here already that it's creating this nice finished edge. So you'll do that all the way across, doing your regular loop and then going backwards. Okay, so now all we have to do is finish off this last little bit. You're going to cut the loop yarn the same way we did in the beginning to get it started. So again, try to separate the yarn so you can feel where the string is that's connecting the loop, and then you'll just cut that so it's a straight piece of yarn. I'm going to do this twice so I have some extra space to weave the yarn in. Once you've cut off the loop, you can go ahead and cut off the excess yarn there. Then you'll take this piece and thread it through the loop from the back to the front. When you pull it tight, you'll see that it just finishes off the edge. After that, you'll weave the rest of this yarn through the loops the same way we did for that middle piece. And to finish it off, go back to the beginning and weave that extra yarn in too. And now you have your very own loop yarn knitted scarf.